Welcome into the Thunder basketball universe. We're in the studio and we're still inside of Paycom Center because the Thunder's 6-game homestand is still happening. We're recording this on November 7th. So the Thunder has one more game left in this home stretch. That's going to be on Wednesday against the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's crazy to think that we're going to be done with Cleveland in the early part of November here.
And this is a team that's got, big time playoff aspirations. Went to the playoffs last year. So you're getting them out of the way early. And it's so interesting because sometimes you catch these teams at a certain stage of the season and they're a totally different team by the end of the year.
That's true. And the Thunder had a really good win on the road against Cleveland to start the year, and now Cleveland coming to OKC looking to have a little bit of a rematch. But it has been an incredible homestand. A lot of things happening inside of Paycom Center and away from Paycom Center as well. So we're going to get you all caught up on everything that's been happening within the Thunder basketball universe during this 6-game homestand. So we're going to start with the things that warmed our hearts. We're going to start with Bless Your Timeline.
We're going to bless your timeline.
It's my favorite segment that we do. All right, Nick, what blessed your timeline during this homestand?
Well, first of all, I think this is Buddy the Elf's favorite segment also. I mean, now that we're into November, you guys can start planning your Christmases and whatnot.
Did you put your Christmas tree up, Nick?
No,
this is
yet.
a very important thing that we need to talk about.
We wait until after Thanksgiving to do that.
Okay.
But not very long after Thanksgiving. We're pretty quick about it right after.
I'm not gonna front. I have been playing Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You these past 2 days. And I just, my heart needed it, It's just this instant serotonin boost that makes you smile.
Well, look, I'm equal opportunity here. I respect those who celebrate starting the day after Halloween.
Yep.
And I also respect those who celebrate the day after Thanksgiving. I think to each their own in how they want to get into the holiday spirit.
I love the Buddy the Elf reference. I love smiling. Smiling's my favorite.
Yeah, and bless your timeline is our favorite.
Yes, it is. All right, what blessed your timeline?
Okay, so the Thunder every year does a handful of these events over at Homeland. They partner up for these Homeland shopping sprees. And this past weekend, Jalen Williams, J. Will, went out and met a family at the Homeland over the new one over on the northeast side. And basically the whole thing is this underprivileged family, a family who's really kind of needs a little bit of a lift, gets an opportunity to have a massive shopping spree at Homeland and pick up all the things they need, not just food, but if there's kind of family necessities and those types of things. And I just can't imagine a better person to go along for the ride than a guy like Jay Will. He had that beaming smile the whole time, the booming voice, no pun intended with his booms on the floor. But it was just great. It was, there was a mom there. There was a bunch of kids, all girls except for one little boy. And so Jay Will had a great time with the whole family. But that boy was just locked onto Jay Will the whole time.
Amazing.
He was like the Tasmanian devil, running around the store, flipping things up into the air because he just was on cloud nine to be around Jay Will and have that type of interaction. Jay Will definitely was, helping them pick out certain things. This is a chance for the kids to get something special as well. But the thing that really warmed my heart is what we found out about the mom, Felicia. First of all, there's a certain amount of money that they can spend on these shopping sprees. Well, she got about 80% of the way through that money and turned and kind of said, hey, I have everything I need. Can I pass along the rest of this money to someone else who needs it? And Jay Will was like, that's a really nice gesture, but this is for you.
Keep it. Yes.
Remember, this is your day. So think about all the things that you might need in your house.
Right.
Stock up on extras so that you don't, next month or whatever, you can have what you need. So that was really special. We came to find out later on that at some point, even though, they're kind of a family in need, that she took in another mother and her children as well into her home and helped make sure that they had a place to live. So this is, these are some of the reasons why the Thunder does this. Of course, to give back to a needy family, but to be inspired by the people in our city as well, that they're the ones who really, help set a tone of that Oklahoma standard that we at the Thunder try to follow as well.
I love that story because we do a lot of these Homeland shopping sprees throughout the year. And it's so interesting to see, the family come in. Are they going to come in with a list and an itemized list of things that they need, section by section? Or are they going to come in and let the kids take over, get whatever you want? We're getting snacks, we're getting chips. I love this story in particular because it just goes to show that that's the Oklahoma standard, to be honest with you. That just kindness, generosity, humility. And Jay Will being there as well, That guy is just so down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
He is the best person that you can have navigating that shopping cart through the aisles. And it looked like he had a pretty good time too.
He did. And you mentioned down to earth, that was something that everybody that was there talked about. It's just like, he didn't act standoffish or the way that maybe some people might perceive an NBA player to act. He was right in the mix. And even afterwards, he shared that, hey, growing up, he and his dad, they went through some hard times. And there were some, moments where they really needed help and that kind of grace from other people. J. Will said his dad never really let him know that that was what was going on. He never felt like he didn't have what other kids have. But looking back, J. Will sort of realizes the opportunities that he got and the ways that he was helped along the way, and that this is a really special thing for him to be able to turn around and maybe help a family who is in a similar situation to what he was when he was a kid. Kind
of a full circle moment to be able to give others what he needed at that time growing up as well. Such a cool story. And those stories, they always go deeper than just the shopping spree. There's always more to the story. So I'm glad you were able to uncover that.
Yeah. And just imagine you're shopping, you're picking up your groceries on a Saturday afternoon, and there's J. Will strolling around your homeland. I mean, there were so many people there that were just doing their normal shopping that decided that they needed to go down that one aisle again.
Right.
I need to go. Wait, what was that? Sorry, the cereal aisle. I think I need some more.
Wait a second. I need some more salad dressing. Is that Jalen Williams? Oh my gosh, that's the other thing. We don't shut down the homeland. It's just send upon the homeland.
Yeah. So you never know who you might find.
Yeah. And the Thunder, they've been out and about recently, and a few days after that holiday assist, this is the thing that warmed my heart. This is the thing that blessed my timeline. It made me so happy. So the Thunder officially kicked off its 16th year. Crazy to think about. 16th season of holiday assist, where they just get out in full force. I mean, they're out in the community throughout the entire year, 365, but during the holiday season, kick it into overdrive, and they are just about everywhere, and the guys are out as well. And so the entire team, every single player, made their way out to Tinker Elementary School. And this was right near the Tinker Air Force Base. And the Thunder treated several military families at Tinker Elementary to a Thanksgiving dinner. And it was the guys who were serving the food.
Yeah.
So you had some guys who were lined up on like the food serving station. You had some guys who were passing out drinks, and you had others on the dessert station. Well, as we know, everything seems to be a competition with these guys.
Of course,
There's just no doing something just for the sake of doing it. And so we talked to Josh at practice the other day. We talked to Jalen Williams, J-Dub, at the event that day. They were both on the dessert table, and they made sure to let everyone know we were the fan favorite, because obviously we're passing out the sweet treats.
Yeah, but I will say the dark horse candidate here was Shea. Because he was on both turkey and mac and cheese duty. And there was this little old lady volunteer.
Yeah.
Who, maybe her normal job is actually, I didn't get this detail, but maybe that's normally her job. But she kept kind of trying to say, hey Shea, I can get the turkey, or I can get the mac and cheese. And Shea was like, no. You rest. You sit down. You get off your feet for a little bit. I got it. And I was like, that's my point guard.
I love it.
That's my point guard.
That's my PG. That's my PG. Taking care of people. I see you, Shay. And then just double duty. One on each hand.
Bam.
I got you. Also, serving mac and cheese takes a little bit of skill, because you gotta get all of it off the spoon.
Yeah.
It'll stick there otherwise, and it can easily turn into an oversized portion if you're not careful.
These kids, they go to Tinker Elementary every day. They get served by the lunch ladies every day. They're gonna know if our guys were not ladling the food correctly. And all the reports that I got is that the Thunder players, they delivered.
Yeah.
And they really did a good job.
We had some good feedback for our guys on the serving lines. But this story extended even further, because I mentioned we were able to talk to Jalen Williams, who has a military background, and both of his parents served in the Air Force his entire life. And so he really, this is a little bit of a flashback for him, spending time near an Air Force base. As a matter of fact, this wasn't even his first time at Tinker and around Tinker. Last year, he made a visit to Tinker to, visit all of the active duty members at the Air Force base. And we got a chance to talk to him. And he was like, yeah, this is really kind of a full circle moment. A lot of flashbacks to going to, the gym on the base early in the morning, because that's the only time my dad was available. It's like 5:45 in the morning, and they're going to the gym together. together. And it was just, he was getting in that habit of waking up early. But he also said, I recognize that during the holiday season, that could be really tough for military families because a lot of the times they can't be there during the holidays, whether that's deployment or just working on the base or things like that. And so being able to, provide a very positive, happy experience and memory here is really special for me because I understand where these kids are coming from.
Yeah, and we got to talk to a couple of different families while we were there, and one of them, said, "Hey, the husband said, I've been deployed 7 times. We don't know if or when that will happen again, but if it does, we will get through it as a family." Yeah. And I just thought that is, again, back to that Oklahoma Standard thing. That is how the Thunder tries to operate. Like, we don't know when adversity is going to hit us next, but we're going to get through it as a team. We're going to get through it as a family. And that just really struck me that what a great outlook and attitude to not view this as some, horrible burden. You're serving your country, you're serving your family at the same time, and you're going to figure out how to do it all together.
It was just such a heartwarming event, whether it was getting the turkey served by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or the pumpkin pie from Jalen Williams. But then they all went over to the gym where they got a chance to, shoot some hoops. They could take some pictures with Rumble, make friendship bracelets with Davis Bertans. Yes, absolutely, 100%. And then, of course, there was I think it was a cookie decorating station.
I was hoping that you were going to mention this.
Yes. This looked so much fun and also delicious and a little chaotic because it was the icing that stained your mouth.
Yeah.
But it was that's the good stuff. Like that's the stuff that all the kids want. But they got to decorate their own cookie. And I saw a couple of cookies where it was like a 3-to-1 ratio of icing to cookie. And I was like, oh, that's going to be a fun night.
There were a handful of kids who were literally taking a handful of the icing as opposed to scooping it. And so they had a good night.
They did. They did.
I don't know if their parents did, but they had a good night.
It was so funny because I mentioned Davis at the friendship bracelet station, but he also spent some time at the cookie decorating station. And Davis has kids. He has 3 kids, I believe. And so I'm just I could only imagine what's going through his head. He's like, hey, these are not my kids. So let's keep on piling on the ice.
Not my problem.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going to have some fun today, 100%. So a lot of fun at these events. And there will certainly be more Holiday Assist events throughout the both month of November and, of course, December. We'll keep you all in the loop on everything that's taking place. There are going to be some moments that bless your timeline from here on out. So be on the lookout for that. All right, let's talk some basketball because I mentioned the Thunder has been going through this homestand. It has been so nice being home, going home to our own beds, and the Thunder playing on their home turf. They've played 3 games since we last podcasted. They played against New Orleans Pelicans, they played against the Golden State Warriors, and last night they faced the Atlanta Hawks. And these were 3 vastly different games, obviously very different opponents. Let's start with the New Orleans game here because this game was really interesting. The Thunder shot out to really strong lead, got out by as many as 22 points ahead of the Pelicans. And this is where the second youngest team in the NBA, they're learning how to hold on to a lead. And the Pelicans started chipping away, and ultimately overcame the deficit and won the game. The Thunder gave themselves a chance down the stretch to win it, but ultimately the Pelicans walked away with the win.
And you think about the last 3 years for the Thunder, they've learned the lesson in the opposite direction.
Coming back.
Right, and that these games are long. They're 48-minute games. A lot can happen. You can be down big and still give yourselves a chance. They've had the most double-digit comebacks in the league over the last 3 years, and the reason is because they've understood that. It's a totally different phenomenon when you're on the other side of the equation. You still have to understand the same lesson, but the focus is a little bit more the hunted as opposed to the hunter. And that comes with its own set of things that this Thunder team is adjusting to and getting used to. So it was really interesting because this little stretch of 3 games that you're talking about kind of bookended by that same phenomenon. The Thunder did not hold on to the lead against New Orleans, but it did against the Atlanta Hawks on Monday. Similar situation where OKC got up big. The Hawks then came storming back. We'll talk more about that game in a little bit. But a really good window into, hey, here's a 3-game sample size. We saw the Thunder have to face this type of challenge last week, didn't rise to the occasion and get that job done. Now, a few days later, they're able to do it.
Yeah, and I want to go into the fourth quarter of this game against the Pelicans because the Thunder they lost the lead. They were trailing, but there was a huge surge late in that fourth quarter that gave the Thunder a chance. And this is what you ask for. This is all you ask.
Yeah.
If, yes, you're going to make mistakes throughout a game. You're going to lose a deficit. There are going to be runs. There are going to be highs. There are going to be lows. But can you put yourself in a position to win the game down the stretch? And the Thunder did that. They fell short, but they put themselves in the position.
Yeah, and that's what this team's going to need to do night in and night out in the Western Conference. I mean, you think about the teams that the Thunder has faced already from the Western Conference. New Orleans, Golden State, Denver. I mean, those are three really high-quality teams. That's just scratching the surface of what the battles are going to be night in and night out for the rest of this season. So the Thunder's going to have to kind of steel itself. They're going to have to, kind of continue to work on that physicality, the force that they play with on both ends of the floor. And what we have seen, though, since that New Orleans game is an invigorated offensive attack that did not have the type of lull that we saw in that New Orleans game. And I think Mark Daignault put it well that like good offense is just really good possessions strung together.
Yep.
And bad offense is really good possessions struck together with 3 or 4 bad possessions like sprinkled in between there. And the Thunder really just has to be disciplined about not having those bad possessions.
It teaches you the value of each possession and how that can really shape the momentum of a game and ultimately the outcome as well. Well, the New Orleans game had a combined 216 points. Let's go a few days later to a game against the Golden State Warriors. We're going to go like plus 60 points of offense between both of those teams. I mean, you want to talk about offense. This was about as high scoring game as you will see in the NBA this season. 141 to 139.
And this game did not go to overtime.
This game didn't go into overtime. This is regulation basketball. But the lull of offense that the Thunder faced in the Pelicans game did not exist against the Golden State Warriors. And I want to point out, because there's a lot of context surrounding this Golden State Warriors game. A, the 4-time champion Golden State Warriors coming into the building. B, it is the first game of the in-season tournament. So this is all brand new. The NBA is going all out. There's a brand new floor.
Yeah. New jerseys, a lot of distractions and hype and whatnot. So many
distractions. I mean, and then you're wearing your City Edition uniforms for the first time. So it's just, there's new here, new there, different, weird. I've never done this before.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have to defend Steph Curry and Klay Thompson while I'm at it.
You forgot one big one.
I'm so sorry.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander didn't play. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's so many different elements that could distract you, that could cause disruption. And I love what Coach Daignault said before the game. He said, any experience that is different is good for this team. Because for a young team, you don't, basically what he was saying, I'm just going to paraphrase here. Smooth seas never made a skillful sailor. So you can't go through life with these controlled experiences. You don't get better in a bubble. You have to get outside of your comfort zone. You have to get outside of things that you know to learn how to be a better team and how to perform well in these sort of situations.
Your maritime knowledge is just blowing me away right now, Paris. You're exactly right. You can't get better in a vacuum, and these types of challenges are going to test this Thunder team, and they're embracing that. You know, the weirdness, the wildness. If you think that the in-season tournament hoopla was, wild and crazy and that was so different when I came to pick up, just get ready for playoff basketball. That's going to be totally different. I mean, being in a setting where you're, in the Western Conference semis or the Western Conference finals or the finals, that hoopla, that craziness is on a totally different level. Yeah. So the Thunder has to start prepare. If that's where this team wants to go in the long term, which they do, they need to learn how to embrace these challenges, embrace these distractions, and cut right through them. And so this in-season tournament is a perfect chance to do that.
Definitely. Yeah. And the Thunder did a fantastic job of just blocking out all of that noise, because when the ball tipped up, they were playing Thunder basketball very well from the outset. I mean, wire to wire, just great basketball. You want to talk about balanced scoring. All 5 starters finished with double-figure scoring. Cason Wallace steps into the starting lineup. Very first start for a rookie, and I can only imagine what's going through his head.
Yeah.
And we just laid out everything that's happening in this game against the Warriors, and that's the first game that Cason Wallace has his first NBA start. And he rises to the occasion. He's taking on Steph Curry and Klay Thompson defensively and holding his own. Did a great job calibrating throughout this game. And this was, we talk about how crazy this game was, but it was so fun. It was so
really
fun.
game.
It was so energetic. It was electric. I mean, neither team led by more than 10 points in this game. There were highs, there were lows. Every punch the Thunder threw, Golden State had one of their own, and it came down to truly the very final possession of this game, which I'm sure if you're a Thunder fan, you've heard this, what happened already.
You had to be hiding under a rock to not hear about this whole controversy in the last 2 seconds of this game.
Easily the most confusing play that has ever happened in my time in the NBA. I don't know. Nick, you've seen a lot more basketball than I have, but this was easily the most confusing call I've ever seen.
Yeah, so Steph Curry drives past Lu Dort, who, by the way, Lu had an unbelievable game. Started the game 9 for 9 from the field. Went 6 for 6 from 3 in the game for season high 29 points. Played tough defense all night long. Steph is Steph, though. Gets past him. Lays in this finger roll. There's all sorts of congestion at the rim, at the net. Looks like Josh Giddey's fingers go into the net. He kind of got knocked by Draymond Green. Draymond Green's hand hits the rim while the ball is in the cylinder. There's a massive long review. There'd already been 2 or 3 reviews already in the final 4 minutes of this game. That's kind of what made this night really crazy is there was such incredible game flow for the first 44 minutes of this game. Very few timeouts, no real stoppages, great back and forth action. And then the whole last 4 minutes just ground to a halt. Yeah, there was all sorts of reviews.
Every possession.
Yeah, every possession there was a review or a timeout or something. And it became a totally different game.
Yeah.
And there was so much like chatter back and forth between the players and the referees and Secaucus and everything.
Yep.
The final verdict was that Draymond Green's hand did not impact the path of the ball as it went through the net when he touched the rim. We're still trying to sort through all of that. But anyway, it ended up in a 141-139 loss for the Thunder. And all the guys after the game took the high road.
They did.
They did not come in and complain. They did not bring an NBA rule book in with them and try to find where this says what. But, they went about it and they said, hey, we played great offense all night. You can't give up 141 points and expect to win a game. So there were plenty of other possessions that this Thunder team said that they could have controlled that would not have put them into this spot. I mean, it's hard to put it on one thing but this is how these guys are.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure somebody's going to look at their free throw line and say, well, dang, if I had just made 2 more of my free throws or something like that, it's just that's how these guys are wired to think. They first look inside and say, hey, what could I have done better? What could we have done better as a team, as opposed to kind of pointing the finger?
And then you've got Coach Dagnall who says, look, they looked at this over and over again. You've got the replay center out in Secaucus looking at this. There's one of the best NBA referees in Secaucus looking at this as well. So we're going to trust that what comes out of all of that discussion is what is accurate. And we're going to live with that. But we know that if you're going to give up, like you're saying, 141 points, there's definitely something we could have done to alter this outcome. And so they took that to heart. And luckily for the Thunder, after one high-powered offense against the Golden State Warriors, they welcome in another high-powered offense in the Atlanta Hawks just a few days later. And this is a Hawks team who came in, they had just won 4 straight games. They were averaging 126 points over those 4 games. You got a guy like Trae Young, who very similarly to Steph Curry, is in range once he steps off the bus and requires a lot of attention. And the Thunder, you could very much tell from the outset, were locked in on the defensive end. That was their focus in this game. They welcomed Shai Gilgeous-Alexander back into the lineup. He was available. He fit right into the flow of the offense, but it was the defense that allowed the Thunder to have a wire-to-wire win against the Hawks.
Yeah, and we talk about the in-game adjustments, being able to calibrate in-game. Well, between games is absolutely critical, and the fact that after 2 really good days off, 1 day of rest, 1 day of practice, then a shoot-around, the Thunder was able to get that defensive mojo back. They held Atlanta just 37% shooting from the field, 14 of 42 from the three-point line. That is the type of shot contesting and forcing misses that the Thunder wants to make its MO all season. The Thunder leads the NBA in contested shots. They've done that. They've been up at that top 1, 2, 3 range for the last couple years now. That's their viewpoint on defense. You've got to be out there and contest shots. You want to get those shooting percentages down. The next step for this team is being able to consolidate more of those missed shots, those defensive rebounds. But there's always going to be a fire to be put out throughout the course of an NBA
Definitely.
season. Every team is always dealing with, hey, there's something that we need to be working on and focusing on. That's how this goes. And so it was really cool to see, though, the Thunder recognize, hey, we didn't get out there tight enough on a guy like Klay Thompson or a guy like Gary Payton or Dario Saric in the Golden State game. We got to do a better job of that against Atlanta, and that's exactly what they did.
They sure did, and there were a lot of guys who had something to do with this. Chet Holmgren, obviously, with his ability to just block shots, he was all over the place. He had 3 blocks, but then you also had a guy like Lu Dort who had a massive block on Trae Young at the end of the game because the Hawks, they wanted to make a push at the end. They made a little bit of noise. They put some game pressure on the Thunder. They tightened this game down to single digits in the final few minutes of this game, and the Thunder had to get stops. They had to lock down defensively, and there was the play with Lu Dort to block Trae Young. Then there was an incredible offensive rebound from Chet Holmgren off a missed free throw by the Thunder, put back, and one.
Well, I want to talk about both those guys for just a quick second. Lou followed up that great performance against Golden State with another really solid one. He has continued to just play such efficient offense. It's something that he talked about. Mark Daigneault has talked about as well, that he's making really good decisions when he's attacking baseline or coming off of a closeout. He's taking the right shots as well. That play that you mentioned that led to the run out and J-Dub dunk, I think that Lou probably should have gotten credit for a block and a steal on the same play.
Interesting.
That play, I've never seen anything like it. He blocked Trae Young's shot. Then the ball kind of came back down to Trae, and Lou just grabbed it out of the air. It was fascinating.
Did he only get credited for a block?
I'm not sure what he got credited for. It doesn't really matter, but he deserves double credit.
I can check that. I can go back and look because I'm curious now.
The other one is Chet. And you mentioned the big-time offensive rebound and putback. He's just playing with so much force and physicality. But I mentioned the shot contesting earlier.
Yeah.
Chet, as an individual, leads the NBA in shots contested this season
at
95. And so that's above Anthony Davis, Evan Mobley, Brook Lopez, these guys that are known to be some of the best rim protectors in the entire league. Chet is contesting shots at the rim, of course, but he's also getting out to the perimeter. We saw that play in Cleveland where he's baseline to baseline, closing out and getting a hand up. So really impressive that Chet is doing what he's done so far in terms of those raw contest numbers, and then being able to shake off kind of a tough shooting night and make the most physical and probably most important offensive play of the game too.
Mental toughness, just mental endurance, and especially from a young guy, like that says so much about this guy. And just to circle back to our Lu Dort conversation, they credited him for a block and a defensive rebound.
Okay.
So it was a shot, I guess.
Okay.
But not a steal, because if you shoot it, then you can't steal it, I guess.
I guess so. I just thought that it went back into Trae's hands. Does not matter. Our guy Lou got credit for something great that he did, so that's all that matters.
Just a massive play. I mean, we've seen this picture time and time again. It's a great movie. We know how it ends, and Lu Dort always rises to the occasion. An incredible game for Lou. Well, if we're going to talk about one backcourt defender by the Thunder, let's talk about another backcourt defender, and that's Cason Wallace, who stepped up big time in this game. Had some incredible minutes. He only finished with 6 points. But he had 4 steals, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is tied for the most by any rookie in the NBA so far this year?
I think it is the most.
For
any rookie in the NBA this year. Yep. And he had 4 assists as well. 4
assists, 4 steals, and 24 just really solid minutes. And he was taking on Trae Young. He was taking on DeJounte Murray. And I love watching him and Lou defend together because Lou says, like, we're always talking to each other on the floor. We have great communication. We can switch between a lot of different things. And so you can tell that those two have some really good chemistry in the backcourt defensively. But Cason's ability to defend as a rookie does not look like rookie defense one bit.
No, and there's a prime example of why. He took one of those Lu Dort honorary offensive fouls last night, hustling, busting over the top of a screen. He draws the illegal screen on Atlanta.
Yep.
And I sat back and I was like, Lu Dort has cooked here.
Someone's been watching Lu Dort film.
Yeah. So we've now heard from Lu that, he's helped Cason along the way. We've heard from Aaron Wiggins that he's really helped Cason in terms of understanding where to be offensively.
Yeah.
We've seen that over this 3-game stretch that Cason is, basically operating some of that Aaron Wiggins role of hanging out at the dunker spot, being a screener and a hard roller to the middle of the floor, attacking closeouts the way that Lu and Aaron do as well. Cason had 2 really, really big finishes at the rim against Golden State at the end of that game. Basically on those types of plays where the Thunder had created an advantage, and then all of a sudden, here's a wide open gash in the middle of the lane for Cason to attack. Really good stuff from him on both ends of the floor. So poised, so quiet. He just comes into the post-game press conference last night. Just matter of fact.
Yeah. And just a great guy. It's also Cason's birthday today.
Happy birthday, Cason.
Happy birthday, Cason. The big 2-0 for Cason.
20 years old.
20 years old.
That's just stunning.
For a 20-year-old, let's just backtrack a little bit and take a look at some of the defensive assignments he's had so far this season. Klay Thompson.
Yep.
Steph Curry.
Yep.
Trae Young.
Yep.
DeJounte Murray.
Okay.
Jamal Murray.
How about Donovan Mitchell?
Oh, so sorry. Donovan Mitchell as well.
How about Zach LaVine? Let's see, who else? Well, you could throw Cade Cunningham into there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this guy just has, and this is every night in the NBA.
Exactly.
And so to be getting these experiences right off the bat, we talked to Mark Daignault about this. He kind of ran the same program with Josh Giddey early. It's like, hey, we're just gonna get him out there. We're gonna start him one of the first preseason games. We're going to just, put him in the lineup. We're going to put him in the rotation. We're just going to get a baseline on whether this guy can hang or not, what he needs to work on. And Cason has delivered. Josh said he knows his role and he's basically playing it to perfection right now.
Literally.
And that's great. What an amazing thing for a rookie to be able to come in and have a clear and defined role and understand what he's supposed to do on the floor, to be given the freedom that he's been given defensively so far, the trust to say, hey, you go be you defensively. You pressure in the backcourt. You do what Lu's doing, but do it your own way.
Yeah.
And that's what the Thunder has gotten from Cason Wallace so far.
I love what Mark said, that the Thunder's trying to develop critical thinkers out there on the floor, not robots, right? So if Cason, you have the ability to pick up full court, so you have the freedom to do so if you feel it is right for this situation and in this moment.
What did Mark say? Don't fall down.
Don't fall down. That's also some good advice as well. And he hasn't done it. Right. So he picks up about 3/4 court a lot of the times we see from Cason, and he stole the ball out of the top of the key from Trae Young against the Hawks yesterday. And I was just like, that is huge. Yeah. That is big time. Yeah. And Mark gives a lot of credit to Cason for his intellect and just his ability to calibrate. Against the Golden State game, Klay Thompson got loose a couple of times. Cason didn't close out as hard as you probably should against a generational shooter like Klay Thompson. But later in the game, we see some really lockdown defense against Klay and against Steph as well. And then against the Hawks, we see some, obviously, against a guy like Trae Young, nothing easy. He looks uncomfortable the entire game. Cason Wallace has a huge reason for that.
Yeah, and the backcourt for Atlanta, Murray and Young combined to go 12 of 34 shooting. That is way, way below their season average, and a great example of how this Thunder team was able to just quiet those guys to the point that, hey, they're not scoring 126 points.
Right.
You come away with a 9-point wire-to-wire win.
Yeah, Cason Wallace, such an easy guy to root for out there because he fits in offensively too. He just finds the spots. You'll see him hiding in the dunker spot sometimes, and it's just right place, right time. Mark uses him in so many different places out there on the floor. He's knocked down several corner threes. All of his threes have been assisted because they just come within the flow of the offense. They're just great, open, quality looks. And he knocks them down.
It reminds me of something that Mark actually said about draft night when he watches Sam Presti and how he kind of operates in the draft room, that Sam really tries to visualize the player in a Thunder uniform, in the Thunder context, in this Thunder environment, and perceive how that guy is going to interact with all of his teammates. And it's so clear seeing Cason now how Yes, of course a guy like him would be able to come in and just have that right attitude and have the right way about himself, the way he carries himself with this group, and the humility to step into a team that has a ton of ball handlers, has a ton of guys who can score the basketball, and have a role that makes sense for him, that brings out the best in him. And so that's cool for the 10th pick in the draft to be able to come in here and do that right away.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think Cason has to sing happy birthday to himself at practice today?
No, you know who I think has to sing?
Who?
Chet and
Keyontae
Johnson.
What a perfect segue, Nick Gallo.
Yeah.
To our very next segment. We had a chance to talk to Cason's fellow rookie, Keyontae Johnson, and we figured this would be a really good time to bring up this interview considering the OKC Blue starts their season very soon. So let's hear from Thunder's very own two-way player, Keyontae Johnson. Okay, we are now here with rookie Keyontae Johnson. Keyontae, first of all, welcome. We're so glad to have you. How has this experience been for you so far?
It's been a great experience. I'm just learning from the guys. They make me feel welcome here. And just practice been going good, so just blessed to be out here.
Getting a chance to know the guys. Have there been any funny inside jokes, any fun connection moments with these guys so far?
I mean, me and Trey, man, we went to college together, so we just relate back on the years we went and just joke around, just have that feeling back again.
Yeah, what's it like getting a chance to go into a locker room in the NBA and see immediately a familiar face like Trey?
It makes me feel comfortable just knowing I got somebody I can talk to and just feel relaxed without trying to be in my first year. Like, he's been in my situation, so I know I can go to him and just ask him things. So it's definitely a blessing to have that.
What was it like playing with Trey back in Florida?
It was good. I mean, his freshman year, he played just a little bit, but he was like a real big piece for us in his big games. And then his sophomore year, that's the year I got hurt. So I didn't only play 4 games with him, but he was killing that year.
So when you joined the Thunder, was he like the first guy that you reached out to kind of get the inside lay of the land?
Definitely. He actually reached out to me first. He just was like, nah, this is crazy that we back teammates again. And then it was just like, ever since then, we've just been talking about it. So
repping the orange and blue again together. How about that? Definitely. In Oklahoma City, of all places.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
What have you learned about this team specifically and the city of Oklahoma City so far?
This team, they like to stay together, just stay connected. They always make sure one another is okay with family or just mentally. In the city, it's real quiet. I mean, I like it so far that I've seen. It's chill. I like the weather. I mean, everything is perfect right now.
Has it taken some time to kind of get acclimated, or was it just when you got here, you're like, all right, this is gonna work?
I mean, it kind of takes me some time. It's kind of, I don't want to say similar, but I was at Kansas, so it kind of gives me like a similar Kansas vibes right now. So
I want to get to know you a little bit more and allow our fans to get to know you a little bit better. What's something inside of you that drives you? Do you have like a personal mantra or personal, motivation when you're going out there on the floor?
Probably my situation when I got injured. I'd probably say just use that to never give up on myself, and just knowing when I'm on the court, it can be taken away from you. So just try to have fun with it as much as I can while I'm out there.
How much has that just altered and kind of shaped how you view basketball and being able to play?
It definitely did change my perspective on life. I try not to take like things serious, like to the extent. I just try to just take it day by day and just enjoy the moment now rather than being upset about something little. So I feel like that's what it changed.
In light of keeping things light and not taking things too seriously, are there any movie or TV characters that you relate to?
I'd probably say Mike Epps.
Yeah, Mike Epps.
Nah.
Okay, I was gonna ask any movie in particular.
Nah, yeah, I like Friday. Well, next Friday.
Okay.
Friday after next. So
that's a good one. Any TV?
Everybody Hate Chris.
Great choice. Great choice. Obviously, we talked, you've overcome a lot in your basketball journey, more than most players. Just what does it mean to you to be in this position and have a chance to play in the NBA?
For me, it's just, I'm the first in my family to make it to the NBA, so it's just a big dream come true to my family, just showing them by example, just showing that anything could be possible. So for me, I'm just excited to be the first and have people to look up to me and my family and just ask me anything. So,
what has the reception been like from your family?
I mean, My family, they've been real cool with it. Like my circle is real small, so they supported me everything I done. They come to most of my games. Like Summer League, they was there to support me. So whatever I'm doing, they're gonna support, and that's why I'm really appreciative about.
How much value do you hold in family? You said you keep a tight circle. Is that really important to you?
Yeah. I hold a big value in my family, just knowing they was there from the start. So just try to always give back to them and just show how much I appreciate them with anything. So if they try to come to a game, I always try to make sure I look out, just knowing what they did for me when I was younger.
Switching gears a little bit to basketball, it's clear you take a lot of pride on the defensive end of the floor. Has that always been the case for you in your basketball career?
I was, yeah, something similar. I guess so. A lot of coaches try to say they would make a joke now. I don't play defense just to make you play harder, but defense is definitely something I try to bring out of my game. Just knowing like different teams, you have different roles, so always defending could be the best thing you can show a coach, and that's what I try to do when I'm on court.
What's your mentality on that end, especially now that you're in the NBA? You played summer league. What have you learned about what you need to bring on the defensive end of the floor?
Just the physicality. Some guys don't play physical enough with other big players, so just bring my physicality and just rebounding, just doing the little stuff as a team. That's something you could really stand on the court.
When it comes to physicality and clearly toughness is an element of your game as well, how many different parts of your game does that touch when you're out there on the floor?
It touches definitely a handful. Just on offensively, me being physical, just attacking the rack, playing through contact, getting and one. So it's like being physical can help and hurt you. You be too physical, get in foul trouble. So it's just gotta maintain it and manage it really.
Getting a chance to play a little bit with your teammates now. How much have you learned just about your game overall, and what is next for you when you step into the NBA?
I learned I can guard better than I thought on a bigger level. Just seeing different guys on the team, they bring different parts of the game. So just for me, just trying to see, for me, I need to show what I can bring to them and just to get everybody respect.
Do you remember when you fell in love with the game of basketball?
I'd probably say 7th grade, 7th, 8th. I had to decide was between football and basketball. And I was playing travel basketball at the time, so that's when I made my decision.
So you had two early loves. You loved football and basketball?
Yeah, my dad was a big football, he liked watching football, so that was the first sport I played growing up. And then basketball was just something I felt more comfortable with and just loved.
What was your position in football?
Linebacker and DN.
So do you have a team that you root for now? Do you have a football team?
I don't have an NFL. I got to call it Florida.
Florida? Okay. So when you're watching, are you watching the position that you would have played?
Oh, no. Well, I'll be watching more cornerbacks. I like DBs.
Is there any element of your game that you would attribute to playing football?
My physicality, DN, they got 300-pound linemen, offensive linemen on the side, so you got at least be strong to get it past them.
And then what was the trigger for you that made you choose basketball over football?
Honestly, I really don't like cold weather, so it's I didn't want to keep me outside just freezing all the time.
This is a smart move. Yeah. You're indoors every time. Yeah, so. You're still in the cold.
Cold, it's just depending on the gym you go to.
But
it's a better risk to take than football.
I love that. Okay, now you're going into your rookie season. From when you started playing basketball, or even just in college, what does your game day routine looked like? How has it evolved?
I have a certain playlist I listen to before every game. So just that. I talk to my dad, my mom, my dad before every game, and just my pregame ritual. I stay the same. I don't try to switch it up. So if I play good this game, I'm gonna do the same thing I did. But that's about it.
What's on the playlist?
I listen to Lil Baby, Moneybag, Lu Dort.
Has the playlist stayed pretty consistent, or do you kind of
change it? I might add it. It stayed consistent, but I might add a few more songs to the playlist that might just drop out.
Would you consider yourself superstitious, or you just want to be consistent with everything?
I'm superstitious for sure.
Yeah? Are there any certain things that you do before you get onto the floor that you have to do?
Before I get on the floor, I definitely got to pray. So I always pray, and then I always wear it. Like I said, if I play good in one shoe, I'm always going to put that shoe back on. So it's just something like that.
Is it like right sock first always, then left sock?
Right, yeah.
Yeah?
Not that. Not to that extent. But I probably, let's see, like I have to have like my shorts on. Like before I go to the gym, I already gotta have like my stuff already on before.
Really?
Yeah. It just feel like, so it make it feel like I'm already ready instead of I get dressed at the gym.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yeah.
That's not superstitious. That's just smart.
smart.
That's just smart. Well, Keyontae, it has been a pleasure getting to know you. Good luck this season, and thanks so much for taking the time.
Nah, thank y'all for having me.
I couldn't believe that before that interview, I had completely forgot that Keyontae Johnson and Trey Mann were teammates in college. And then he brought it up and I was like, oh, that of course, duh. And how cool is that to walk into a locker room and see a familiar face immediately?
They connected right away after the draft. Keyontae got drafted late in that second round, and apparently Trey was the first person to call him after the draft went down. Should. So very cool that those guys can be reconnected. And of course, Keyontae has just had, such an interesting journey through the course of his collegiate career. Trey Mann was a part of that. Keyontae's obviously kind of come a long way, ended up coming to the Big 12 at Kansas State, and then now they get to reconnect. And Keyontae's going to have a great opportunity to be on this two-way deal, to be with the OKC Blue for a good portion of time, to reconnect with the Thunder throughout the course of the season. And you really think about kind of the stage where the Thunder is right now in terms of the guys who are, have NBA-ready bodies and minutes and rotation, the way that Mark wants to do it with 12, 13 guys who are live every single night, potentially ready to play in these games. You think a guy like Keyontae, he's going to get some great opportunities with the Blue this year. The Thunder does such a great job of utilizing the Blue for all of the guys really on their roster. Just an extension of time within the Thunder organization, getting quality minutes in actual game opportunities. And we've seen a lot of guys take advantage of that throughout these last couple of years. And Keyontae obviously going to be a part of that as well. And the Blue season is right around the corner. Their first game is coming up within the next week. And Nick, you had a chance to go to Blue Media Day the other day as well. What did you learn? What did you take away from that experience? Well, I had a chance to talk to Cam Woods, the head coach, who's back again for another season, and a handful of the players, some of the guys that really stand out. Jaden Shackelford, who's a returner from last year. Big time shooter, that lefty stroke is really nice. Shaq. He's been around the program for a little bit. And then two kind of newer guys, Caleb McConnell and Hunter Maldonado, both in their own ways had big time college careers. Caleb McConnell, two-time conference defensive player of the year at Rutgers. And then Hunter Maldonado went to Wyoming, and he just was unbelievably productive there, and learned how to play like within a system and then have things a little bit more tailored to him as well as a scorer. Both those guys around 6'7", long, rangy, just to look at them. Yeah. Absolutely, NBA level, professional level bodies. So pretty fascinating guys that you'll get to see at these OKC Blue games. And you never know. We've seen guys like Lindy Waters III. Yeah. Come rise up. He was a tryout player for the OKC Blue, and now he's had a full-time contract with an NBA team with the Thunder on a two-way deal again this year. So you just never know. And once these guys get into this Thunder system, and Blue system, things can open up for them. And they can also have such great touch points. This is something I talked to Olivier Sarr about. He has more interactions with more staff at the Thunder than maybe the full-time NBA guys, because he's on this two-way. Right. So he's able to maybe get some knowledge and some wisdom from guys with the Blue staff. And he has just so many interesting touch points that for a guy like Keyontae, who's coming in, who we just talked to, you did a great job on that interview. He is going to be able to get so much input from so many different sources and figure out what works for him, what's best in terms of his development plan. And talking to some of these guys, Caleb and Hunter and Shaq, they're really excited for this season. They love being around each other already. And it's such a great environment for players to come and get experience on the Thunder roster, to rehab from injury. Yeah. We talked to Jay Will the other day, and he said going down to the Blue to rehab that hamstring was a huge opportunity for him. Yeah, they push him in ways that are very different, because all of those guys down there, they're hungry, they are hardworking, and that's kind of the ethos of this Blue roster. And really, it's an extension of the Thunder roster, and you see it in
so many different ways out there on the floor. The systems, the terminology, the style of play, their ethos as a team, hardworking, lunch pail mentality, roll up your sleeves, don't be scared to do the dirty work. All of those guys kind of come in, and it's really easy for, I think, G League level players to just go out there and hunt their own opportunity, to hunt their own, agenda and try to make a name in a roster and an NBA roster. And the Blue does a phenomenal job. None of those, they leave those at the door with the Blue, and everyone comes in with a team first mindset. And Cam Woods has done a phenomenal job with that over the last couple of years as well.
And the Thunder is all about developing their people within the organization too, and not just the players. And so Cam, he had a chance to be with the Thunder, and now he's had this opportunity with the Blue at Summer League. Mark Daignault said that he really took a step forward. Cam did in terms of some of the coaching. I talked to Cam on Blue Media Day about something that Mark said as well, which is it's really nice as the Blue head coach to not be a head coach for 12 months out of the year. You get to reconnect back with the Thunder when it's, the end of the regular season. And so you get to just get a different vantage point, different context to maybe see your job as the Blue head coach and as the head coach of a team in a little bit of a different way. Whereas, when you're the head coach of an NBA team, that's all 12 months. Those guys are, on contracts for the entire time, not these kind of like 1-year deals. So, really fascinating, this whole G League world and how it incorporates back to the Thunder. So you're definitely going to want to come down to Paycom Center and watch these games when you can. And
you don't have to wait very long, because the first game for the OKC Blue inside of Paycom Center, Monday, November 13th against the Memphis Hustle. This is the Blue. If we haven't told you enough already, it's a really, really great opportunity to see guys in action. And it's also some Thunder players as well. But these G League guys, they put on a really good show. They're really fun to watch. And it's just an extension of the Thunder style of play and offense. And it makes for some really fun games as well.
Yeah, you think about Lu Dort, Trey Mann, Aaron Wiggins, Ousmane Dieng, Jay Will. I mean, Jay Will started for the Thunder at the end of last season for about 2 months. The previous 3 months before that, he was pretty much in the G League the entire time.
Right.
And OKC was able to slow play that development, get him on the right track, to get him up to speed on how to, play pick and roll defense, all that kind of stuff. And then when he was finally ready for those opportunities, he was able to come in and play a huge role. You never know who the Thunder is going to be able to deploy at the G League level to prepare them for those NBA minutes. And you can say you saw him first, just like your favorite band.
I can say I saw Lu Dort first back in 2019. I was looking out for Lu Dort down in the G League. So be sure to go check out the G League schedule, OKCThunder.com. Be sure to go find all of those schedules and ticket information as well. Come down to Paycom Center and check them out. All right, let's get you all set up for what's happening with the Thunder this next week. There's only one game left in this homestand. They got one more chance to see this team before they head out on the road for a little bit. That game is on Wednesday against the Cleveland Cavaliers here inside of Paycom Center. Then OKC hits the road, but just for a couple of games. They take on the Sacramento Kings on Friday and then head out to Phoenix to play the Suns on Sunday.
Yeah, so this will be a good little road trip for the Thunder back, out to the West Coast after that East Coast trip to start the season. And again, we talked about the West, how challenging it is. I mean, these two teams, elite teams.
Yeah.
Last year, Sacramento had home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. Phoenix obviously has just loaded up on talent. We haven't even seen them at full strength yet this year. So we'll see if they have all their guys come Sunday, because that would be a big time matchup for the Thunder.
Yeah, and more good lessons to come, more firepower, more high-powered offense, just great experiences for this young Thunder team right out of the gates of the season. I mean, there's no easing into this NBA schedule. So be sure to be on the lookout for those games. And of course, go to OKCThunder.com for all game coverage. Go to @OKCThunder on all social channels to keep up with everything that's happening. And we've got you covered here as well on the Thunder Basketball Universe podcast. But until then, thank you so much for watching and listening. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Thank you so much to Keyontae Johnson and to our producer, Matt Bishop. And until next time, Thunder up, and catch you later.